You're listening to Soap Dirt, the latest in television entertainment news.
Hey there, Young and the Restless fans. It is Soap Dirt on YouTube, and we have got a few Young and the Restless comings and goings announcements for you based on what happened this week and things that are coming up next week and beyond. We're excited to dig into these for you, but if you haven't already, please reach down, click that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our Y&R comings and goings, casting news, spoilers, promos, predictions, everything you want to know about your favorite CBS soap opera. All right, so just over the last week and a half, we lost little kitty cat Borgnine was poisoned to death, and then horrible Cameron Kirsten was stabbed to death, and that was the end of Lyndon Ashby, or maybe it wasn't, because we have got some spoilers for you about him and his character. And then, of course, we lost little baby Ava Spectra Newman when Sally had a placental abruption and had to have emergency surgery, and her unborn baby could not be saved. Related to the Cameron Kirsten story, Faith Newman is now back out. They only brought her back briefly for this really fast, horror story, as Sharon Case called it in a recent interview. So Raylan Castor is out. She is done for now. She's on recurring, if you didn't remember that. So they specifically brought her back for this little storyline. And initially Sharon was keeping her close, but then Faith just said she's looking around every corner for Cameron. She just kind of has PTSD and she wants to go back to college and maybe pick up a class or get a summer job. She just doesn't want to be in Genoa City. So they let her go, and she is already gone. Then we had a new character pop up this week, and that is Jack Abbott's brand new assistant that I don't think any of us remember seeing before. Her name is Emily, and she's played by Tony Robison May, and she was the one pulling together the newsletter and the bio and the photo shoot for Diane to announce the engagement and her new job at Jabot. Hopefully we will be seeing more of Emily. All right, so there is kind of a big comeback of sorts of someone that people love and miss, and that is Mishael Morgan as Hilary Curtis. And you're probably like, okay, how is Hilary back? Well, Hilary is back as Devon is thinking about things. And what happens is Chance Chancellor brings baby Dominic back over to Abby and Devon's penthouse apartment. And he basically said that he thinks it's kind of stressful on Dom to be staying at that house and then not staying at the Chancellor Mansion where he lives when he's with Chance, which is where he's used to. And so he proposes that Devon and Abby move into the Chancellor Mansion, move out of the penthouse into the mansion, and he says he'll get an apartment nearby. That way Dom can always be at the house. And Devon and Abby talk about it and talk about the fact that, Jill might be there, things like that, but they decide that's probably not a deal breaker. She is a little worried about Nina Webster since, she cheated on Chance, and now Chance is suggesting that she move the guy she cheated with into the family home. But it looks like Devon and Abby are going to think about it. But in the midst of this conversation, Devon is telling Abby that he remembers when he bought the apartment. And then we have some scenes of Mishael Morgan as Hilary Curtis. And he basically saw the apartment and decided to buy it. And I think he was surprised her with it, something like that. At any rate, he did not consult Hilary before he bought it. And so she was very upset with him. So if Devon let the apartment go, if they got rid of it and they moved into the Chancellor Mansion, which would be great because I love seeing that set, but it would kind of be like getting rid of the last part of his life that he shared with Hilary would be gone, right? So I am super excited to have scenes with Mishael Morgan, but it is super sad also to be reminded of Hilary Curtis and the future that Hilary and Devon were cheated out of when his sister accidentally, caused that car crash that took her life and the life of Devon's unborn child that she was carrying. All right. So our last little thing we want to talk about here, this is not a confirmed in or out, But we are just wondering what they are going to do with Elena Dawson. What are they going to do with Brittany Sarpy? Now, her contract began in March of like 2019, I think, because she had been on General Hospital, and then they hired her over at Y&R, which if you watch more than one soap, you may know that they were just not utilizing her very well at all on the ABC soap. And they have used her better in general on Y&R. But right now, it's a question of what are they going to do with Elena, because Victoria has stolen her guy, so she doesn't have a love interest. And it's not a show like GH that's hospital and medical story centric, so she really doesn't have a medical storyline. Like, it was great for her to be around for this thing with Sally, but overall they don't do a ton of medical stories on the soap, just now and then. And then there's not a lot of single guys her age in GC. There's Kyle, who's just walked away from Summer. Well, he's going to call it off with her this coming week, but he's going to immediately start shagging Audra, so he's off the table. There's Adam, but Adam is grieving and smitten with Sally still, and not the kind of guy that she generally goes for, you know. And Devon is with Abby, and Chance is sniffing around Sharon, and then he may also be getting some action from Summer because she's broken up. So there's just really not somebody at loose ends for Elena. And so I'm just really curious what they're going to do with her and if she is going to stick around. Hey, if you haven't already, please reach down, click that subscribe button so you don't miss any of our Young and the Restless spoilers, casting news, promos, predictions, and more. So for the ins and outs in the Y&R cast this week, Raylan Castor is definitely gone. Lyndon Ashby, though, I want to talk about him again for 1 second. Cameron was stabbed to death. True. So he did die a villain's death, but next week, Sharon gets a delivery to the ranch. It's dropped off at the gates, and it was dropped off by Cameron Kirsten's estate attorney, had it dropped off, and it's something that Cameron left to Sharon in his will. And the spoiler about this box is that there's something in there that's going to make her question things, and it's supposed to be tied back to her history. And then it says she has a big decision to make. So there's no indication yet what it is in that box, but I do wonder if we might get some final Lyndon Ashby scenes. Perhaps he left her a DVD with a message, you know, maybe we will see some kind of flashback of him talking to his lawyer, or a flashback of him reading his will or something. That's the kind of scenes that they can shoot at the end and then play later whenever, you know, after the actor's, you know, run is done. So I'm just really curious if we're going to have a little bit more of Lyndon Ashby yet to see.
Thank you for being a loyal listener. Follow us wherever you get your podcast, because you don't want to miss the next episode. Soap Dirt is on all the major podcast platforms, including Apple Podcast, Spotify, iHeartRadio, and more.